This episode is brought to you by Battleborn Batteries, the best name in the RV and marine industry. These lithium batteries are designed and assembled in the USA, backed by a 10-year warranty. The best solution for your battery anxiety, so go check them out at battlebornbatteries.com.
You are listening to Beyond the Wheel, a podcast about the people and ideas that drive the RV community forward.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Beyond the Wheel. Today it's just Kenny and I shooting the breeze like we usually do on our every third or every fourth episode, I guess. Today we got some plans to talk about the Ford F53 Class A gas chassis. But before we get into that, I guess I should say hi to Kenny, who's patiently waiting to say something, I think.
I'm just enjoying listening to you talk there, Sean. Go right ahead.
Before we jump into the Ford F53 chassis, we wanted to just say a few words about Full-Time Freedom Week, and we'll put a link in the show notes on how you can go register for this event. And it is a 4-day event. It's all online, and it's videos, both live and pre-recorded. Kenny and I are each doing videos for Full-Time Freedom Week. Kenny's doing one on, what's yours about, Kenny?
RV inspection, everything that you should be looking at in an RV before you purchase it, whether it be new or used. I'm going to walk you through an RV on the outside and the inside, and just point out the major things that you should be looking at before you purchase the RV to make sure that you're going to have a great first time out with your RV.
Oh, cool. Yeah, and I'm doing one on DIY solar install. I get some input from some friends of mine on different parts of installing solar, and it's going to be good, not just if you want to install it yourself, but if you're going to have somebody do it so you kind of know the language and know what to ask. Anyways, this whole event is free online, and it's better than free because they're doing like a couple $1,000s in giveaways during the week. So if you go online, like I said, we'll put a link in our podcast episode description. Click on that link and register, and Kenny and I will get credit for you registering for the event. And you can watch the videos. They're going to be up each day. You can watch those videos, and then if you're enjoying it and you don't have time to watch all the ones that you want to watch, there are different purchasing options that allow you to watch them at your leisure. But if you go ahead and click on the link and register for free, see what the schedule looks like, and pick out the videos that you want to watch, that'd be great. I think it's going to be a good event. This is their third year. Kenny and I were involved last year, and we had a good time with it. So looking forward to it this year.
I'm looking forward to it too. They got a lot of great speakers. I think I read over 30 speakers, and I like that they have different package plans, all starting all the way to for free even, and you get to see everything from free. And then, like you said, if you need more time to view it, you can purchase one of the packages that extend it to 30 days. And I think you can even purchase last year's entire event. So it's really nice how they laid it all out with different layers of packaging.
Yeah, it's really good. Let's jump into this Ford F53 chassis. And I know, Kenny, you're really excited about this because you're driving on the old Ford F53 chassis right now.
Yeah, and it's been a great chassis, but I am so looking forward to the new chassis. So as I was reading about the F53 chassis, I found out that there hasn't been a major update in the chassis in the last 20 years, and that's like that was unbelievable.
That's really surprising because if you think about the diesel chassis, it seems like every few years there's a new 600 horsepower, motor.
Yeah, and lots of options with the diesels. You can have varying different setups with their chassis, different transmissions and different engines, and giving you more horsepower, more torque, depending on the size of the RV. I don't believe Ford's doing that. I think Ford's just sticking with a single chassis, but they are upgrading. They're upgrading everything about it. It's almost like a chassis from scratch. They're upgrading the engine, possibly the transmission. They're upgrading the suspension. So it's going to have more horsepower, more torque, a better ride, more cargo capacity, more towing capacity than it's ever had before. I don't know why it took 20 years. It's not like Class A RVs are unpopular. You
No,
know?
they're very popular. Yeah,
Yeah, I just wonder why it has taken so long. They're bumping up the engine from a 6.8 liter to a 7.3 liter,
which is
but they're
huge.
yeah, that's a big jump, and it's
Yeah.
weird. It's weird the way they're doing it though. So the current model that we have is the V10, and it's been a V10 for a long time. Even though they're going up in liters, it's going from a 10 cylinder to an 8 cylinder, and they're saying it's going to be quieter, easier to work on. They're saying that it's actually going to be like a cast iron block, which is going to make it like a workhorse. They're putting this engine in their Super Duty trucks. In fact, I think they're already in the Super Duty truck.
Oh, okay.
It was new for 2020, and I was really hoping that we were going to see this engine in the new Class 53 chassis for 2020. But now it sounds like it won't be out till 2021 from what we're reading.
What other gas RV chassis are there available? I mean, I think you have the Ford and the Dodge, right?
Well, there was a Chevy for a long time, and I think Chevy is coming back, but I don't think in a Class A. I could be wrong about that. Really, honestly, for the last at least 5 years, if you wanted a Class A and you wanted it to be gas, it's been Ford.
Ford,
Like
okay.
there hasn't been another option. It used to be that Chevy was in the Class A's, but then if you remember, like, oh geez, how long ago was that? Where the companies were taking like buyouts and they were getting in trouble with debt, but Ford
Uh,
did not
so
take
like
any.
2008 time frame,
Yeah, I think
2009.
yeah, right around then, and I believe Ford did not take or didn't need any of those buyouts, and like the motorhome industry looked at that as saying, "Oh, that's a good thing." And actually kind of not banned Chevy, but just decided to go all in with Ford on that Class A chassis, and that's what I read anyway. And that's why Chevy disappeared from the Class A motorhome market.
So maybe they haven't done any upgrades to the chassis because they haven't had any competition,
That
nobody
would
to
be
compete with.
that would be a good reason. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, competition's good. I mean, it's good for the
Yeah.
consumer.
Yeah.
So maybe in a sense, we're just lucky that Ford's doing anything at all because because I believe at this moment, they don't have any real competition except for the diesels when it comes to these chassis. But I do think that I think I read that Chevy might be coming back to the Class A party. And like you just said, without competition, it doesn't really give them any reason to upgrade. So if Chevy's coming back, that would definitely give them a reason to upgrade.
Yeah. So this new one too, the chassis is going to have a 10-speed transmission.
It's rumored. So
Okay.
in the Super Duty, that's what they matched it up with. So in the Super
Okay.
Duty trucks, they put this brand new 7.3 liter engine and they matched it with a 10-speed transmission. People are saying they won't do that. When I'm reading about it, they're saying they won't do that for a Class A. I don't know why they wouldn't, but they're saying that they believe that they're going to stick with a 6-speed transmission, but the engine itself it will run more fuel efficiently, and that's why the better gas mileage. Even though it's all have like about 100 more horsepower, it's going to get a little bit more gas mileage as well. But apparently, that has nothing to do with transmission. That's just all in the engine itself.
Yeah, and it probably helps with low end torque too.
Yep.
That bigger engine, so it'd be easier going up hills and stuff out west.
Yeah, they're saying it'll have more torque down at the low end, like you're saying, for that toe in and for that pulling and getting off the line. And I just wanted to go back to that transmission for 1 second. The other reason why I don't see why they couldn't do that 10-speed transmission is that it fits in the same space that the 6-speed fits
Oh,
into.
really?
It's the same size. It's just 3.5 pounds heavier, but size wise, there's room for it. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure why they wouldn't just go ahead and throw in that 10 speed or maybe offer it as an option.
You know, I have a friend that just bought a brand new GMC 1-ton 3500 truck, and it has a 10-speed transmission in it too. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I bet it does.
Like that's the standard. going forward now, so I'm not sure why they wouldn't go ahead and throw that into the Class A's.
Yeah, or at least offer it as an option, and maybe that's something that we'll see as more news is, brought out about it. Some of the other upgrades are going to be so. If anybody's been in a Class A recently, even now today, the dashes are very old-fashioned looking. The dash that I have, like in my Class A now, is a dash that you would have seen in the '90s, and
No, it's not digital and stuff.
no, no, you got to go in and take a look at one, Sean. Now the diesels for the Class A, they're digital. They look great. They even have a special name for some of them where it's like this glass screen. And it's just so sharp looking. It's really nice to look at. But the Class A gas that are in the Ford are still the analog with your 2-gauge. I'm telling you, it would be the same dash that you would find in like a '95 Bronco.
Oh,
I feel
wow.
like it's pretty. It's dated, but with the new chassis, they're going to upgrade that dash cluster and bring it into the 2000s at least, I hope.
And then you're gonna have, like you said, probably an increase in your towing capacity and probably your overall weight allowance.
That's what they're saying. They're saying that we're going to get a little bit of a bump up in the towing capacity and the cargo capacity. Cargo capacity is a big deal. I feel in a Class A, Sabrina and I are kind of lucky that we don't have a whole lot of stuff. We're 500 pounds underweight for our cargo capacity, but that's very unusual. People are usually packed or overweight. But the new chassis, the way they're designing the tubing and the structure and suspension that they're going to include in it is supposedly going to have a much higher cargo capacity. And that's really going to help people be able to actually use their cargo space. It's great when you have cargo space, but if you max out your weight, then what's the sense of all the space?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think it'll be nice. Sabrina's looking forward to the larger cargo capacity because she likes the large SUVs. And right now, to tow a heavy vehicle, you need a diesel pusher to do that. Diesel pushers have a 10,000 pound to 15,000 pound range when towing, and a Class A is 5,000 pound range.
Oh, really? That's it?
It's that big of a difference. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So we're kind of limited. We could maybe tow a Grand Jeep Cherokee or something like that, but it's pushing it. It would have to be empty. You wouldn't be able to put anything in it at all. It'd have to be empty and maybe even half a tank of gas or something just to play it safe. So in that sense, if the new chassis is going to be able to tow more weight, that really opens up your options for tow vehicles, because we've seen recently, I feel anyway, that more and more vehicles are going away from being able to be flat towed. It used to be like you could tow the Honda CR-Vs, and now you can't anymore.
Yeah, after 2014.
Yep, exactly. So they're changing stuff in the transmission, which means if you want a particular vehicle and it's not flat towable, then you got to dolly it. And then once you dolly, now you're adding extra weight. Yeah, so being able to tow more weight, I think with the new gas is going to be a big advantage.
And I always see people, like we were just staying at this RV resort down outside of San Antonio, and there was a lot of diesel Class A's in the park because they were having an Allegro bus rally, and these people are towing monstrous trailers behind their diesel pushers. I mean, as big as the diesel pusher.
Yeah, because honestly they can. Some of them, the minimum I think for a diesel pusher, most diesel pushers is 10,000 pounds, and then I know some of them have a 15,000 pound, which it really opens up a ton of options. Like you're saying, trailers the size of your RV.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're carrying, but yeah, they could carry whatever they want pretty much.
Yeah, we were looking at some of these trailers and we were like, oh my gosh, would they just pack up their whole house and bring it with them just in case?
Well, your truck that you use to tow your fifth wheel, what's your tow rating on your truck? It's very high, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like 25,000, but that's 25,000 pounds. The weight of the truck is insignificant when you're talking about that compared to a diesel motorhome. So that probably makes up that difference.
I think that does play a lot into it because, even like our motorhome, it's a big engine. It's the V10 6.8, which is still a very large engine. And that engine in a truck can tow way more than it can in our Class A, because you have to take into consideration that our motorhome is 18,000 pounds.
Yeah.
and we're a small Class A. Some of these Class A's for the gas ones are 23,000 pounds or whatnot. So yeah, that definitely gets taken into consideration. I think a lot of people shy away from the Class A and always go towards the diesels because of all the extra power you get.
Well, what did you guys see as the advantage to the Class A gas when you bought it?
I mean, the major things for us when we looked at the two, of course, price. So a Class A is much more inexpensive compared to a diesel, not only off the line, but for fuel, it's cheaper for the Class A. Maintenance is way cheaper in a Class A when you talk about oil change and things like that. But also for maintenance, we knew that we would be traveling a lot, and we knew that no matter what type of issues we would have with our engine, we could take it to any Ford dealership across the country, or any certified mechanic will know how to work on a Ford engine. Whereas we felt with the diesels, we don't have to bring them into the Freightliners or find a certified diesel mechanic, and they're not as common. Certified diesel mechanics are not as common as a certified gas engine repair shop. So we just wanted something that we knew that we could have, not worry free, but we knew that we would be able to find a place to do service on it if we ever needed an issue. The other thing that why we chose gas is because, everybody talks how the diesel will last you 1 million miles. It's
Right.
going to last you forever. The gas is rated, you're supposed to get about 300,000 miles.
Yeah.
Out of a gas engine, out of these V10s. When Sabrina and I sat down and did the math, we were like, all right, well, we know we're going to do a lot of miles. We do 30,000 miles a year, which is 25,000 miles over the national average for an RVer, and that's even including the full timers. So we were like, all right, well, 20 to 30,000 miles.
That's 10 years.
It's 10 years. And we were like, we're not going to keep an RV for 10 years anyway. And then when we looked at the diesels, and we're like, well, the diesels last, 1 million miles. We're like, well, we'll be dead before the thing. I mean, there's no way we could never even hit those many miles. We just need something to last us 200, maybe 300,000 miles. We're not even sure if we need something to last us 300,000 miles.
I bet before you hit the 1 million miles in a diesel, the chassis can probably take 1 million miles, but the actual home itself probably can't take 1 million miles.
No way. No. So, I mean, that's really what we looked at. We were like, we're not going to get the benefits longevity wise out of the diesel. Now, yeah, the diesel is more expensive and everything like that. And I don't want to talk anybody out of buying diesel, because Sabrina and I love the diesels. When we've test drove them, you're getting more than just the engine for a diesel. I think a lot of times people think I want to buy a diesel, but I don't want to spend the money on just a better engine. But you're actually, you're getting those other things that we talked about with a diesel.
Yeah.
You're getting a better engine, you're getting a better transmission, you're getting the more cargo capacity, and you're getting the more towing capacity.
Yeah.
And all those things, depending on what you're planning on doing with your RV, you might need that extra towing capacity.
Yeah, and just having that, the engine, instead of being right underneath you when you're driving, it's in the back, so it's a little bit quieter.
I wonder, maybe why can't they do that with a gas engine? Why does the gas engine need to be up front? Why can't they put the gas engine in the rear?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. If anybody knows, just give us a comment. Let us know why.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good idea. I bet you there's somebody listening that knows why the engine can't be in the back. There's got to be a reason for it.
Yeah, there's got to be. Yeah.
The only thing I could think, but you could always make vents and breathing and stuff like that, would be that maybe the gas engine needs more air up front. I don't know if that's true though. So yeah, definitely. If you know the reason, put it down in the comments for us and help us out.
So the other thing I notice about chassis is when you go to RV shows, you always see like Freightliner or Spartan, I think is the other one. They always have their chassis models there, but you never see like the Ford gas chassis on display anywhere. So you can never get a really good look at it.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if they'll bring this new chassis around to the shows so people can get a look at it.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. I've only seen it at the Winnebago factory. That's the only time I think I've ever seen a stripped, chassis, Ford, the gas chassis. I don't know why that is. You're right though. I don't know if the Freightliners. Yeah, that's a really good question. I wonder why. Why don't they
Yeah.
show it off so that people can see it? Maybe because it hasn't been upgraded in 20 years and they're embarrassed by it.
Yeah,
They've
so
been on.
maybe they'll bring this new one out to show it off.
Yeah, I was going to say they kind of set it and forget. I was almost want to use the word cruise control, and then it made me remember. It just reminded me that the new Ford chassis Class A will have adaptive cruise control, which is something that I'm looking forward
Oh,
to
nice. Yeah.
because I'm a big fan of cruise control. I use it in the car. I use it even now in our Class A, but I would imagine this happens to anybody, probably you too, driving your fifth wheel. We get cut off all the time. Nobody wants to be like behind us, and they will do their best to get up in front of us, even if that means get in front of us and then slow back down again.
Yep.
They just don't, and then I got to take the cruise off, reset it. But if it was that adaptive cruise, I could just kind of set it, forget it, and let the RV, pick up and slow down as traffic goes. And I've never driven anything with adaptive cruise. Does your?
Me neither. No.
I was going to ask you if you had it in your truck. I know some people love it and some people hate it. I guess it depends on if there's any type of adjustment of how close. So the biggest complaint I hear about it is that it leaves too much space in front of you, and then constantly you're getting people pulling in front of you, and slowing you down. I'm not going very fast in our motorhome anyway, so I don't know if that'll be an issue. If I can adjust the distance, that'd be great. I think if they give you a little bit of an option, I don't know.
Yeah, I try and leave plenty of distance between us and the car in front of us.
Me too.
When we stop.
Yeah, same here.
Risk it,
Yep, same here. I don't want to test it. I don't even know how quickly we could stop, but I don't want to test it.
Right.
We had one person step out in front of us once, and I didn't think we were going to be able to stop in time, but we did. But I couldn't tell you distance wise, like how long it took us to actually stop. It was a weird situation. We were driving down a street with traffic lights. We had the green light. I was switching lanes, and I looked to the right. First, there was somebody standing on a corner, and I made eye contact with him. So I know he knew that I was driving down the street, but I wanted to switch lanes also. And I looked to the right to check traffic to make sure nobody was next to me. And Sabrina yelled out, "He's stepping out in front of us." And I looked back in front, and sure enough, this guy stepped out in front of us. I slammed on the brakes. We have a brake system in our car too, and I know that locked up. So the brakes in the car locked up. We didn't lock up. I shouldn't, lock up's the wrong word because that sounds like we're sliding, but everything's got anti-lock brakes. So I mean, we just applied the brakes as hard as possible. And we did stop before we hit this guy that was passing us on the right. I was like, oh my God. I don't know how this guy made it across the street. He was playing Frogger. It was terrible. It was really terrifying. Really terrifying.
So this one, the new one, should have beefier brakes on it.
Yeah, I don't know why they would stop. If you don't put more horsepower, more torque, then I think it's kind of the obvious thing to do is that you have to put more stopping power in as well. And we were talking about moving the engine to the back. I guess that's not something that's going to happen because I just remembered also that they said because the engine is going from a V10 to a V8, something else, I'm not really sure why this would be, but the engine will not be as tall as it is now. So that means the doghouse up front in the RV, and for anybody that doesn't know, the doghouse is like that box that sits between the two seats up front. That doghouse is going to be significantly smaller than what it is now. So
is that good or bad?
I don't think it matters either way. I've never felt like that doghouse is in the way. In fact, our cup holders are sitting on top of the doghouse, so I can put my mug and stuff in there. So if that would get lower, I'd have to be like fishing around, I feel like, for my my cup. So I'm not really sure if that's really a big advantage. The only thing I could see that as an advantage is if maybe they would stuff that thing with insulation, or maybe with the engine being smaller, they can add more insulation and maybe it would be quieter
yeah.
Because they'll have the space. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. It might not make any difference at all. In fact, that they might be boxes, I guess, that the manufacturers make, and they don't put them in there whether they need it or not because they have them. They might not change that box size, just because they can. They might just leave the box the size that it is anyway because they already have a mold for it, or
Right. Yeah, it's already designed.
yeah, it's already done for them. They don't have to redesign anything. Who cares if there's more space in there? I don't know.
But I guess if they're also redoing the dash, then that might change that whole front area a little bit.
That yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. You're right though. Maybe the manufacturers will go with a whole new, which isn't a bad idea either, just a whole new redesign for the front cab area.
We had some show notes before we started talking about this, and one of the things you asked for comment on was if there was an all-electric RV or a hybrid option available, would you rather go with the gas or stick with the all-electric or hybrid? I would definitely go for a hybrid just because of the fuel mileage. I think they're making progress every day on these all-electric vehicles, so I think in a handful of years we'll have one that can accommodate the way RVers travel.
Yeah, I think so too. I agree with you though. My vote right now, I would love, Sabrina and I both would like to see a hybrid option. Our last two cars have been hybrids and we love them, not just for the gas mileage, but also with the performance. With our hybrids, electric engines have a lot of low end torque. So when we step on the gas in our hybrids, that electric engine kicks in first and it really gives us a decent amount of power right off the line. It's great for merging with traffic coming off of ramps and things like that. And of course, the gas mileage is better too. But also, like you said, with the electric being coming around and the advancements that they're making, I know Winnebago right now is switching out their batteries and they're all electric. They're going to be lighter batteries that have more range. I think they're partnering up. We were talking to Jamie about that they're partnering with BMW for better batteries. The fact that every campground that we go to has electric, you would think that's kind of a perfect scenario. You drive your RV, say the range is 300 miles to your next campground and you plug in and you can recharge. And I honestly believe that's a very plausible idea. Is that the right word?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a big word for me, Sean.
So do you think your next RV will be a gas or a diesel or something else?
I believe our next Class A motorhome will be a gas again. We're waiting for this new chassis to see what it's like. We've had really good luck with ours. It was in the shop one time for an oxygen sensor or something like that when we first bought it, like within the first month. We haven't had an issue with it since. People always ask about climbing hills. It climbs the hills just fine. I mean, we're not really racing anybody. In fact, we usually have to get in the left lane to pass the trucks while climbing the hills. And we've been, all over out west. We've done plenty of hill climbing, 7% grades and all that. Yes, it does get louder while we're driving, but it's not like we're shouting at each other to talk. We're still able to talk to each other. It does get louder. We also took a look at it too with hill climbing. Most of our driving is not a lot of hill climbing. Even though, we do like, tens of thousands of miles. And sure, we hill climb every once in a while, but majority of our driving is not flat, but 3% grades or something like that. It's nothing extreme. It's just every once in a while. It's like probably 5% of our driving is a 7% grade, and everything else is relatively flat. So yeah, we would definitely buy gas again. We've had really good luck with it.
Now on yours, do you have like an exhaust brake or an engine brake?
I would say it's an engine brake. If we let up off the gas and just tap the brake while going downhill, the engine revs and holds our speed. I'm not even sure if it's a true engine brake, where I know with the diesels, you can get exhaust brakes and what is it called? Maybe a J brake. And that helps with going down the hills as well. Again, we're not racing. I try to go downhill just as slow as I go uphill. I think it's actually more dangerous to go fast downhill, but I know other people just let the thing fly. I'm more cautious going downhill than I am uphill.
Yeah, we get passed all the time by people in RVs towing stuff, zooming by us on steep grades, and I don't understand that.
Yeah, I really take my time going downhill. I don't care how many people pass me. Yeah, but yeah, we would choose gas again. Like I said, we just, it just fits so well in the way we travel with all of our miles, and it's just been a great fit for our lifestyle and the way we travel.
I wonder about trading it in or reselling it. I wonder if the gas depreciates more than the diesel, or are you not concerned about that at all because you know you're going to get like maximum use out of it before you buy another one anyway?
For us, that's exactly what it is. We know we got 65,000 miles on it now. By the end of this year, we're going to have almost 80,000 miles on it. We know that we've gotten all the value out of it. We're not really too concerned with the trade up or trade in value of it. I would think that the diesel holds its value better over time, but I think it also takes a bigger hit off of like the first year, I guess, because of the big markup.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, that's a tough one, Sean. I don't know. I think, 2 years, 3 years out, the diesel probably continues, probably only drops down so low and kind of holds steady for value wise. First year, though, I bet you it takes a pretty big hit just because of how much more money it is. The more money something is, I guess the more room it has to fall just off that first time you take it off the lot type of thing.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good question, though. I don't know.
Yeah. I'll have to look at that.
This is a great episode for listeners to actually really participate and let us know what, I would love to hear what people think about, a Class A versus a diesel and what they purchased and why, and would they do it again? I know I say for Sabrina and I, we would definitely purchase the Class A gas again, but that's not to say if we found a floor plan that we preferred in a diesel, we would go with the diesel. But that would be the only reason. If there was a floor plan that was in a diesel that we couldn't get in a Class A, then that would be a reason for us to switch over to a diesel line.
Yeah.
But I would love to hear from other people and hear what, I've always said there are diehard diesel fans. There is no such thing, but there's no such thing as a diehard gas fan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody strives or I think dreams of the Class A diesels. I don't think anybody's like, one day I'm not gonna be able to afford that Class A gas. I don't know. I don't think it's that type of draw for the Class A gas. I think the diesels are definitely what people envision when they start thinking about these big Class A's. That they're like, we're going to get a big diesel pusher.
Yeah, but like for your size, it just makes sense, I think, to have a gas. I mean, because you're not super huge, probably, like you said, in the long run, much cheaper for how you use it to have a gas.
Yeah, that's a really good point, actually. I kind of forget about our size. The fact that we're under 30 foot, I'm not even sure if they make a diesel pusher that's under 30 feet. If you're looking for a Class A and you want to be in a shorter chassis, it's going to be it's going to be a gas anyway.
Yeah. So now let's jump past this a little bit and talk about where we're meeting up in just a few weeks.
Yeah. Disney World. Sorry, Sean, I couldn't contain it anymore. Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is going to be a great trip because I love Disney World and you and I don't get to meet up that often.
Right.
So the fact that, it's so great that you're going to be down there at the same time. We're going to have a blast. I can't wait.
We'll be staying in Fort Wilderness. So you said we don't get to spend much time together other than on the phone or on the computer. So it'll be great to get to see you guys. Hopefully there's some people listening that are going to be at Fort Wilderness. And if they see us, they can say hello.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I like meeting people. I was thinking that maybe we could record an episode from Fort Wilderness too while we're actually together in person. Maybe just talk about, especially, I didn't know that this is your first time at Fort Wilderness.
Yeah.
And talk about what you thought of it, your experience. And this will be my third time at Fort Wilderness. It's my favorite campground. I feel like that campground is very unusual compared to most other campgrounds that Sabrina and I have stayed at. The fact that it has, not just boats, but they have they just have a ton of activities. They have restaurants, they have bars, they have shops. It's huge. You need a golf cart to even get around. It's 1.5 miles long, 1.5 miles wide. I can't wait till you get to see it, Sean. You're going to have a blast.
All right. Well, this was a good.
All right.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
I'm excited to see this new chassis, and hopefully they'll bring a Bear chassis around so people can check it out at the RV shows. I think that would be a great idea. Give you a chance to look at.
Yeah, I think so
it's actually
too.
built.
Yeah, at least let us see the engine, the new engine.
Yeah.
Start bringing that around. Get people excited about it.
All right. Well, thanks, Kenny.
Yeah, thank you.
And we'll see everybody in 2 weeks, I guess.
Sounds good.
This episode is brought to you by Battleborn Batteries, the best name in the RV and marine industry. These lithium batteries are designed and assembled in the USA, backed by a 10-year warranty. The best solution for your battery anxiety. So go check them out at battlebornbatteries.com.